as a long-standing member and chairman of Leatherstock Green Cricket Club, to welcome everybody to our opening ceremony of our new clubhouse, although about 10% of it is still our old clubhouse. It's still here. I do this on behalf of the current membership and indeed on members who were here in the past who unfortunately are no longer with us but would have been proud of this day. I'd particularly like to thank Mike Gatting, OBE and former England captain, for finding time in his very, very busy schedule to get here and be with us today. Not only does he continue to work with the England Wales Cricket Board, he's also this year the president of the MCC, so it's a very onerous task, and it's great that he's been here. I should say that Mike is making his second visit to the club. He was here on glorious 100th birthday back in 2008. On that day he brought an MCC team along.
No.
He was here.
I was here.
He was here. He played. He didn't do as well as he did for England on that day, I should say. Today he's not in the field, but he's happy to be here. We're also very, very pleased to see a range of guests from across our local community, many of whom have supported us in various ways. If I could go through some of those folks, from Dacorum Borough Council we have the Mayor and Mayoress, Councillor Allen and Mrs Wendy Lawson. Thank you. I should say that they are indeed residents of Leatherstock Green and have been very keen to see this going up over the past half a year. We've also got our local councillors, Hazel Bazzadoni, who's been a member for many years, Graham and Rosie Sutton. Thank you very much for coming along. Lizzie Hood, our local vicar, is here, as are Tony Coley and Ron Harris from the Leatherstock Green Parish Trust, who've helped us considerably, and Audrey Waitman from the Leatherstock Green Village Association. So thank you for coming and joining us. It's nice to see from the cricket world Tony Johnson, chairman of Hearts Saracens League that many of us know, and Nick Gilbert from the Hearts County Cricket Association. We had hoped to see Gemma Roke from Dacorum Sports Development. Unfortunately she's not able to come today. Thanks also to our sponsors and indeed the men who have built this for us, our building contractors, and we'll hear a little bit more about that later. Thank you for coming. I should say that we've actually received letters of best wishes from Nigel Ray of Saracens, who couldn't attend, Ali Prosser and Jason Ratcliffe of the Professional Cricketers Association, who would also have liked to come, but for holidays and other commitments, and indeed Mike Penning, our local MP, who, as you know, has had a recent change of job and is very, very busy. He said he might be able to pop in later, but, you know, that's the way it goes for MPs. The success of our club has been based on individuals and families, cricketers, non-cricketers, youngsters, mums and dads, grandparents, many, many, many groups of people over many, many years. Many of these people have given their life to the club. Loads of time, freely given. We've seen babies born, people looking after them, they're growing up, they've got married. We've had dads playing with sons, and so on. This is what club cricket all over Britain is all about. And you know, we fill that sort of category of being a genuine club cricket place. We've become more and more a part of the community. We've got a load of people here who either like cricket, some people don't even really watch the cricket, but they're more than happy to come here and be part of what is increasingly a community club. And I'm very pleased that that has happened over the period of, well, it's over a long period of time, but certainly over the last 10 years, increasingly we've become that kind of club. Today sees the opening, obviously, of this fantastic facility, and already I think everyone that's come in through the doors at any point has said how good it is, and Brian would tell us a bit more about it. So, without more ado, I'd like to pass over to Brian I'm sure he will announce himself in his time-honoured fashion.
Thank you, Steve. I wasn't going to do this, but I shall do. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Brian Wilson. And before I go on to say anything else, I really would like to thank Steve. We talked about families being involved in cricket clubs. Steve is the epitome of that. 2 sons playing here as well. Dan Wilson, the first multicoloured scorer in Hertfordshire, I think. And Steve, over the years, as club chairman, as member of our management committee, and latterly on our development committee, has made enormous contributions. And from the big issues to the micro ones, Steve always has the best interests of Leicester Green Cricket Club at heart. And we owe him a great debt of gratitude. Steve Wilson. You can see on the screen the walkthrough really telling us the story of how things changed, and it is quite a remarkable transformation. The story began in the winter of 2011. In November, I'd recently retired from work, and Steve asked me to explore the possibilities of delivering a major capital project to improve the clubhouse. It was a very daunting task. So what we did first of all is that I set up a development committee of club members. And we looked at possibilities, we looked at logistics, and we looked at funding streams. And the development committee has worked together for almost 3 years now, through, as I've said many times, like Winston Churchill, through blood, sweat and tears. And we had a few beers along the way as well. And I would like to thank most sincerely all members of the development committee who have made very important contributions to this project. And they are Tony Williams, Steve Wright, Steve Wilson, Steve Purdy, Martin Doyle, Mike Ball, Kevin Seggery, Brian Taylor, Dave Bainan, Jim Angel, and last but not least, Mike Wood. Give them a big round of applause, please. Initially, we contacted the Hertfordshire Cricket Board. They gave us some encouragement and advice. They did say there were 3 clubs in Hertfordshire that were ahead of us in the funding streams. And I'm very glad to say that, I won't name the names, but we overtook them and we got the money, which was very, very pleasing. I won't name the names, Tony, it wasn't Radlett anyway. And then the Hertfordshire Cricket Board put us in touch with the England and Wales Cricket Board, and we've received an awful lot of help and advice and support from ECB, and especially with a gentleman that's not here today. He's extending his holiday in Cornwall, Chris Whitaker, who is the Regional Funding and Facilities Manager for the Eastern Region for the ECB, and has been very, very helpful towards us. And also we're very, very grateful to the very substantial grant from ECB and the England and also the interest-free loan. It's actually come from an organisation called the England Wales Cricket Trust Limited, and they have been instrumental in the achievement of our capital project. Many, many thanks to ECB. I'm also very grateful to everybody who has supported us. We made an appeal to our members and friends and sponsors, and we received a large amount of money from a large number of people, both social members and playing members and sponsors, as well as those that have supported our many fundraising events. I just want to mention one of those fundraising events. Steve Wilson, who is well over 60 now, and bowled for the second team for many years, and that's why he limps around these days. Steve always told me he was a batsman, really, a thwarted batsman, but he always batted 11. Anyway, we persuaded him to play a bit of cricket in the 4 team last season, and against a very poor bowling attack, with a very short leg side boundary, and batting with one of my sons, Steve made the magnificent achievement of scoring his first 100. His first 100. So Steve decided that he would have something to commemorate that. So he organised an auction. We call it SJ. He's known as SJ, like TJ, SJ. And we had SJ's ton of auction, and it raised well over £3,000 for our appeal. So many thanks to Steve for that as well.
Great fun. Thanks to everybody who contributed.
And the social committee, led by Steve Purdy and others, have had a whole variety of events, from vinyl evenings to coffee mornings to discos, lots and lots of things. And we do like a good time at Leverstock Green, do we not? And we raise money as well. Our major sponsors, many of whom are here today, have also been very generous. I would like to express my appreciation to Acheson's Estate Agents, Saunders Architects, Best Rate FX Currency Exchange, Hearts Mechanical Handling Services, Tornado Storage Solutions, Unique Cars, and Hicks and Company Accountants. Many, many thanks to our major sponsors. Our thanks also goes to other grant awarding bodies. We're very, very grateful to the Leverstock Green Parish Trust.
Hooray.
Steve, what did you say about the weather? I told it was going to rain at 2 o'clock. It will stop raining at 20 past 2, I think. I'd just like to thank Leverstock Green Parish Trust and the Dacorum Borough Council for the very generous grants which they awarded us, as well as the interest-free loan we received from Wells Young Brewery. Our contractors, managed by Clive Whitehead and Phil Lockett, and his wife is here as well, have made this major project into a successful reality, and they have been innovative, flexible and very responsive. Many, many thanks to Core Building Services. And almost finally, I would like to recognise the enormous contribution to the project made by one person, LGCC's Secretary and Acting Treasurer, Tony Williams. Tony is one of the most modest men I've ever met in my life, and Tony has been an integral member of our development committee from the beginning of the project right through to its completion. And Tony has done much of the detailed, unglamorous work so necessary to our success. Tony, you've been wonderful to work with, and Tony has remained resolute and calm when I haven't, when we've experienced difficulties. I'm very pleased to say, ladies and gentlemen, that Leverstock Green Cricket Club is in very good health. The cricket is going well, thanks to our directors of cricket, Richard Walker and Brad Klosterman and Mike Downs. And of course, many, many thanks to our players. The club is very popular, it's well supported by our local community, and we are financially stable. It is a club where lifelong friendships are made and where we all enjoy our cricket. This new clubhouse building will, I'm sure, help to sustain our distinctive character and ensure the continuing success of Leverstock Green Cricket Club well into the future. Thank you very much for listening and attending the opening ceremony. I'm now going to ask Mike Gatting to unveil the plaques. I think there'll be a photograph pause as well. And I'm delighted Mike's here again. Steve's already introduced Mike, but he's been a very good friend to this club. He's a very good friend to my place of work and a good friend to me. He's one of the iconic cricketing figures of the 20th and 21st century, both as a player, as a captain, and now as a leader of cricket in our country. And it fills me with great humility to imagine that Mike Gatting is in our pavilion again today. So would you please welcome Mike Gatting. The first plaque is one presented to us by the ECB.
You ready, fellas?
There you go.
Right. Whoa, there we go.
And there are two for the price of one now. The upper one indicates all of our donors. Whenever you're ready.
Ready?
And the lower one is the official opening plaque. Thank you very much. Alan.
Councillors Brian, Steve, Tony, and ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to be here. When you're back last, lots of things get said about all the things you're going to talk about. So, but being here is an absolute pleasure again. I was just watching a match at Lords. It was the bicentenary match, Hertfordshire versus Middlesex MCC. And there were 8,000 people there, some sitting on the outfield, some wandering around the ground, some wandering around the pavilion. And it just seems to me that Hertfordshire cricket seems to go from strength to strength. And with all the support that they seem to get throughout the county, it is quite impressive. And walking up here today and seeing what was going on today, 2 sides out there with both boys and girls playing in the ages of 10 to 14, was absolutely magnificent as we walked through the door. And to see so many families, as Brian has already mentioned, here at a club is actually quite outstanding. And for me, in my job at ECB, it is a great pleasure to see so much good work going on here in Hertfordshire again, but also at this wonderful club. It was a privilege to be here at your 100th birthday, and it is a great privilege to be here again, because people do work here. People have worked with the community, and they're making it a great club for the community. And one of my big things, certainly at ECB, is having that privilege of coming along to places where we've given money to and see how much difference that money makes. And I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here, to see the quality of the clubhouse, the quality of the people, and as I say, it's for me to go back and report and say it's been very, very well spent, the money we've given. It is something that I know this club holds very dear, is to try and get the kids playing cricket, and it was great to see, as I say, a couple of the girls playing out there today. But for me, with the kids playing here, I know they're not on the street in gangs, they're here in teams, making friends, and you've got what I would suggest a wonderful community with a safe club where families can come and enjoy. And I think that's so, so important in this day and age. So thank you to you all for that. Volunteers, well, it's one of our big things at the ECB. We can never get enough volunteers. And all I'd say to you, I know both Tony, Steve and Brian have done an awful lot of work with a lot of other people, but just remember, folks, they're getting a little bit old. Right? And they can't go on forever. They might think they might be able to, but they can't. So for you younger members who are out there, just remember, if you can help them a little bit at a time, you know, they can't keep doing it all on their own, and you've just got to give them a bit of a hand when you can, because it'll make their longevity even more. But if you let them get too old and let them do it all together, you might lose them all. But just remember, one day maybe, but just remember they need some help occasionally, and I can see there are lots of people here that I'm sure will do that. But I always say that at clubs, because I know it's always those same 3 or 4 people that do an awful lot of work, and I think people sometimes just take it a little bit for granted that they'll always be here. Sometimes they might not be. So, as I say, just bear that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. You won't want that to happen. I would just like to reiterate the thanks to the sponsors, the local sponsors. Local sponsors are very, very important. And for me, and when we talk about cricket clubs, again, the sustainability of that cricket club is about the members, it is about the families, but it's also about those local people that can help. And a lot of businesses out there I know do help, and I'd like to just reiterate my thanks to the local sponsors, because you can see your money's being well spent. You are providing the kids a chance to have a bit of fun, make some friends, and as I say, keep them off the streets and keep them safe. So thank you to all those sponsors again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know we've got a cricket match on here this afternoon. It is a great pleasure to be here. Please keep enjoying your club. Please keep supporting it. And I thank you very much indeed from the ECB. Thank you very much.
and thanks for forecasting what's going to happen to Steve, Tony and me in the next We're going to move on to a cricket match in a moment. It is just a short show, about another 10 minutes I think, and then we'll get going probably about 2:30 I think. We want to have some photographs taken with Mike and the teams, and we'll do that as soon as the rain stops. But my message is now is please stay around for the afternoon. Spend a lot of money in the bar. If you're not a member, apply for a membership form as well. All right, and my wife who always tells me what to do. Reminds you that between the innings, tea and cakes will be available and provided in the marquee. The players will come in here for their tea, and the rest of us are very welcome to have tea and lovely cakes with fresh cream as well in the marquee. So thanks very much everybody, and look forward to seeing you during the course of the afternoon. Thank you.
You might as well.
There's a space there.
No, I'm fine behind
No, 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 no. Come on.
No, I really am fine behind you.
Don't make us sit down. You need to go back a bit.